Tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Oh, the invisible man.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Invisible Man. We have a special, very, very special guest, or guests actually, Black-Eyed Susie. He'll be joining us in just a few moments, but first, some introductions.
Hey everybody, this here is Mark David Stollard. He uses his middle name even though he doesn't have to.
And this is Ryan Jans. His middle name is also David, but he doesn't use it, even though he should. And we are It's All in the Mind.
Damn,
Yes,
that's so much better
best.
when we're together live.
Yeah,
we tried doing that over a stream and it doesn't
And
work
when we
out.
don't rehearse.
Yeah.
So you would have heard him say, damn, when I said, don't forget the intro. Anyhow, we're getting silly. So those of you watching us live, don't forget to share, like, share, subscribe. We're live on Facebook, my personal page, Colorado Phil Show page, the It's All in the Mind band page. We're live on YouTube on Phil's, I think it's Colorado Phil vlog page, channel, and the Invisible Man channel as well as Periscope and Vaughn, for those of you who like other such things. So we're live as many places as we can be.
As many as we
at
can
the
be,
moment.
yeah.
Anyway, so
We actually have one other person joining us here, a good friend of mine, Ben Nye. Thanks for joining us, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
We'll call him out as we
Ben
go.
Nye, the science guy?
Not quite.
Hey. Okay, so I'm not quite ready here. Okay, Phil, say hello.
Hey, hello everybody.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, I
so
should say Merry Christmas too as well, because I'll forget later on.
So
but-
Colorado Phil is one of the three Invisible Men on the Invisible Man.
My
He'll be
fan is going
he'll be
away. Oh.
sitting in with us as we interview Black-Eyed Susie, and then in about 20 minutes or so, he's going to give us some crazy stuff that he just happened to stumble across on the internet, or whatever you feel good about. But let's get on with the we'll get on with the introduction. Oh. Okay,
No.
I'm going to hit the right button this time.
The introduction there. Ha-ha.
The introduction of the wrong introduction, but the introduction to the anyhow. So Black-Eyed Susie. So Black-Eyed Susie released their first studio album, Back to You, in 2012. They have played at National Elks Curling Bonspiel, headlining Manitoba Summer Games, Harvest Sun Music Festivals, Moody Manitoba Workshop, Swords and Sabres, Winnipeg Fringe Fest, Fire and Water Music Festival, and Indie Week 2017. Wow. They're a mainstay at the Manitoba Summer Games, and in December of 2018 had a special opportunity to share their personal stories of survival through word and song at the Winnipeg Art Gallery to support breaking the silence on domestic violence. Very intriguing. So, without any further ado, and without screwing this up again, we'll go Black-Eyed Susie.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us. Now, I'm going to ask the very first question that we have to ask. Will be a miss. Which one of you, Susie?
Susie.
Yo, Suze babe. How you doing?
Hi, Susie.
Because you've never been asked that before, right? Okay. As there's a possibility that the audience don't know who you are, or they maybe they've heard you but don't know who you are specifically. Why don't you just tell us who you are, your names, what instruments you play, what part you play in the band, and anything else you'd like to say about yourself.
Okay, I'll start, I guess. I'm Christine. I'm the lead singer-songwriter. I play rhythm guitar and backup vocals as well on the album.
I'm Yara. I play the upright bass and I do backup vocals.
And I'm Bobby Fraser. I play lead guitar. I just joined the band at the beginning of this year, so I'm fairly new to the group and get to know the catalog.
Excellent. So, Bobby, Susie's your middle name then, I take it?
Yeah. Bobby Susie Fraser.
You just don't use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that sounds good. So why did you guys choose the name Black-Eyed Susie?
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but it actually is a reference to the Black-Eyed Susan flower. Yeah, it's pretty boring, hey?
Yeah, it's as good as,
not really.
you know what, it's as good as any band name. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, some people think it's a reference to, black guys. I mean, it could be. We've been known to get into a few brawls, right?
Right, Bobby.
No comment.
Yeah.
I was told not to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yara, from one bass player to another, they're trying to blame it on you, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
It's always the
For
bass.
sure.
It's always the bass.
Yeah. But no, we lived out in the country up north for many years, and our ditches were full of black-eyed Susans. And I had a huge. I sort of tried to make an English garden.
Oh.
Be able to, Mark, maybe will appreciate this. We had a big old house, and but what I did incorporate into there a lot was wildflowers. So I tried to transplant these flowers out of the ditch, and they wouldn't take.
Oh.
So they're very hardy, really resilient, but very difficult to transplant. Very finicky flowers. So we thought that was kind of a fitting title. Yeah.
Kind of like me, actually.
Well, I'm kind of like that too, I guess I will admit. Yeah.
Phil, there's many things that come to mind when I think about you. Flowers and delicate flowers and are not one of them. Sorry, buddy.
Sensitive.
He is that. He is that.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Sensitive, yes. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've definitely seen a delicate side of Phil. You've seen his morning announcements, right?
Oh,
Like-
those. That got me reported on the Sunday this past summer, and I was in jail for like 3 weeks in Facebook jail because of an inspiring Sunday morning post.
Oh, yeah, I missed
Don't
that
be delicate, then. That's the lesson.
Yeah.
I sort of vaguely recall, but I don't want to get shut down. We've actually had this show get shut down on us midstream once,
Yep.
so we do kind of gingerly go around it, even though we will make fun of Sony Entertainment for saying that they owned a copyright to which they didn't. But I mean that's another story for another time.
Guilty
We
before
don't hold
proven
grudges,
innocent.
though, right? Like,
Yeah. So, tell us about how the kind of the band got together. Obviously, you have a new member, relatively new member, and it's obviously grown over time. So, how did it all get started, and how did you each get involved?
Well, we've changed and evolved over many years. I've been playing since I was in my about age 19, I guess. I'm not going to let you do math on this, though.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't forget to carry the one.
Spanned many generations.
Here's another
in the
10.
band, though. Anyway, I started out playing with my ex-partner, and we were Black Eyed Suzie back then. We had different people join us, different instrumentation, and then we had a family, and our kids grew up and became amazing players. So they joined us in 2000 and, Yara probably started around 2009.
I was about 14.
Yeah. She started playing bass for us. And and then my son played drums for a little while. And then Yara and I moved to Winnipeg in fall of 2014. And that's when we met Sarah, about 2 years in from that. And we started playing with her. And then we ran into Bobby. And it was like, like you need to play for us.
No choice.
We met.
Flattered, not
Yeah.
it's always nice to feel needed.
Yeah. Anyway, we just hit it off and started jamming.
Yeah, so I play in another band in the city here in Winnipeg called Turn of Phrase. It's with a buddy of mine, and me and him go back to 16, playing in band, all that kind of stuff. So we were actually on the same bill together, and that's how we kind of got talking. Heard each other's sounds, and we get that text, that email. It's like, oh, you want to jam sometime? You want to get together? And then what's that? 12 months ago, and here I am. So
we hog-tied him.
and I haven't really left. So been good.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Right on. Well, we got a couple shout outs before we move on to the next one. We have Pauline Santoro, longtime fan of the show, Jenny Rose, also some friends of mine, Laurel Joel Epp, thanks for joining us, and another good friend of mine, Dave Micklefield. He would be joining us all the way over from the West Coast. I want to say Vancouver, but I'm sure he'll correct me in the comments. So. Welcome everybody to the show. Glad you could make it and make us part of your day today.
Welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining. So you guys are working on a new single and an EP. So tell us all about that.
Say something. Yeah. Go ahead.
We're on our way with the single.
Yeah.
I didn't think about what to say about it.
Well, tell us about the song. Tell us about the song. What's the song about?
It sounds great. Everyone's gonna love it.
Of course.
Yes.
That's all you gotta say about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm learning to record as we go. Doing it through Audacity, pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're trying to handle it, most of it ourselves. We're at the mastering stage right now, so, and then we'll be launching into some of our other favorites that we've been playing throughout the year. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Right on.
And you've got a CD. It's been out, like I think we mentioned in the interview there, or in the intro rather. Back to you.
Yeah.
Hey. So
Yeah. We re-released that actually a few months ago.
Okay.
It was released back in 2012, and then just due to circumstances, it was taken down, and then, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And anyone's interested there who was listening, Black-Eyed Suzie at bandcamp.com. Go buy it. The hyphen's important this time. We'll talk about that later, I guess.
Yes.
There you go. So I'll leave that on the screen just for a minute there so people can write that down.
Yeah.
You also have actually a blog on your website that you want
Yeah.
so tell us about that.
Yeah, so I just thought it'd be interesting. I mean, I tried to start a blog about something, thinking about what it would be, and I just was hoping to bring some insight, just daily living, some tips, based on experience, life experience. I've been through quite a bit of stuff, so I guess I thought I would share maybe, I mean, when you're starting a blog, you want to think about where your strong points are.
Right.
And this is something I was kind of wanting to start for quite a while. So, yeah, I just thought this might be interesting.
Okay, well,
I think it would support our message, definitely.
okay.
Living your best life, and then sometimes there's some rants and rambles in there too. I probably don't do that enough.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes that gives you the emotion that it can help drive the narrative as well. If you can get some of that emotion in the writing as well.
Yeah.
So, well, Yara, you sort of alluded to that you were doing some recording and whatnot using Audacity and trying to do this as independently as possible. Are you the one spearheading all that, or is that sort of a group effort?
Yeah, I mean, I've been running the recording sessions. I've been learning to do all the mastering. In this, I mean, Google has been my hugest help in this.
Yeah, generally is.
I do without it.
So how do you find using Audacity? I'm gonna, and the reason I ask is when Mark and I actually had met. We were both working professionals, working for a company. I was a printer repairman. He was an IT professional, or still is an IT professional. So he's an IT professional at that particular company. And we just happened to be working on a problem. And while we're waiting for the system to reboot and connect to the server and all that blah, 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 we start talking. And I had actually recorded a song where I'd done guitars, vocals, bass, obviously, and programmed the drum track myself and ended up doing it all on Audacity. And, well, it sounds like I recorded it in Audacity. Now, that's not to demean Audacity. You can do a lot of stuff. It's actually a pretty powerful program for what it is, for a free download. But how are you finding working with it? What are some of the things that you would recommend or would say, hey, to an inspiring, maybe there's an inspired young person who's going to watch this show and decide, hey, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it, and roll up their sleeves. So give us Yara's do's and don'ts of Audacity.
Don't record by yourself.
I mean, really, with working with it, if you're not like really organized, I've learned to be like really organized. Make sure I label all my tracks. That's like really important. Believe it or not. I know. Yeah, like I don't know.
When she hits a problem, you just
I Google the problem when I hit a new wall. There's lots of forums out there. I just go like one problem at a time. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll probably lose my mind.
Almost certainly.
But overall, the program isn't the worst to work with. It's a pretty good one, and it's free.
Yes, that's the great part about it. I had done it on all my stuff recording through like an old soundboard I had got a hold of, and then it kind of interfaced into the mic input on an old netbook. So it was like, yeah, okay. And now I've got a nice big setup with a Mac at home, but I found that GarageBand is like terrible. There's things that it does that are great, where it's like, okay, well, I can interface here and I can plug in, and now I can punch in and I can start tracks at a certain point and give myself a count in, which I couldn't really do on Audacity. But it's like, man, the sound library for like distortion or like trying to make your guitar sound different is awful. It's just awful. So
yeah. So I use actually an old copy of Cubase that I've had for years,
which is what we did our album on.
Yeah.
And,
that was a challenge. That was a lot of googling that.
Yeah, yeah. I saw you shaking your head. It was like Google is unfair. Yep.
Yeah. Google's your best friend sometimes. Yeah.
And your worst enemies and others.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
So Christine, you're the main songwriter. What process do you take when you approach a song? Is it do you know what you're going to write before you start? Do you plan it out, or is it a little bit more organic? Try to give us some insight into how you do that.
That's the worst question anyone can ever ask, isn't it? Oh. It's horrible. Well, let's break it down. Let's break it down like this. Maybe this will be a little easier. If you're sitting at home on a Saturday and you got your guitar on your lap, and you start picking out a tune, and you say, "Oh, I think I like that." Will you try and create lyrics to fit that song, or will you write some poetry first and then do that kind of process, or does it just, or you have something complete in your head and you just try and make it work?
I would say it's a kind of a mysterious process for me. I usually pick up the guitar, start noodling around, and suddenly there's a riff or something. And then if there's the lyrics just sort of flow from the sound of the song, or the sound of the riff, that almost always happens. And sometimes it's really easy. I almost feel like getting into like those, talking about aliens and stuff. It feels like the song was always sometimes there. Like it just sort of falls out. How I describe it, just like there.
Fair enough.
Like write it down, and then but trying to like sometimes I have to work with the form of the song or something, change around a bit for Yara or Bobby or something, and that's hell. Like it's like it has to be like this. You don't want to mess with that. But very intuitive, I would say.
Okay.
Kind of magical, yeah.
Yeah.
If I have to fight with the song, it's not fun,
Yeah, I kind of tend to take that approach as well. Just playing some risks, some chords, trying to find the melody.
Yep.
But once I've got that, once I kind of know what the song's about, then I tend to put the guitar down. Once I've got the at least a structure and a hook, and then I'll sit down and I'll write it like prose or not so much poetry. I don't really consider myself a poet, but I'll sit down and I'll write it as if it's prose, and then I edit it as if it is a written work. So that's how I learned to do that. I've been writing songs since I was about 15. So for those of you who are good at math, I've been doing it 5 years.
And for those of you who are regular watchers of the show, you think that's still too old.
They're all like, what the fuck?
Thank you. But I got into actually writing short stories. I had a few short stories published. Actually, I had the book there. I'm just gearing up to getting a kids' book self-published, so that'll be coming out. But I took those skills that I learned over the years as a writer and put that into writing the songs. So I'm actually looking to avoid what I really like about your lyrics that everyone can see that you've published along with your songs is that there's almost no pedestrian rhymes. I love that. Love, dove, but you've got stuff on it that has a rhythm that kind of has the feeling of a rhyme, but yet is different, but not jarring. And that just seems like, for me, it seems like it just comes out natural. That's what I was thinking, is that it just kind of flows out of you. Anyhow. Yeah.
And do you guys, when you write songs, like if you look around the house, like sometimes I'll just be cleaning up, and I come across a cigarette package or something, and there's lyrics on it. I'm like, what the heck? Thought of something, or you're driving in your car and have to I gotta stop, or I do. Yeah, no, I better not say this.
No, you have to now.
Yes.
No,
you can't leave us. Come on.
You started, so you can finish.
I don't want to end up in jail.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's save that for after the show then.
Sorry.
Well, I guess the thing with us is that Mark does chiefly all the lyrical writing and stuff. I do some musical hooks, and a lot of our stuff is very collaborative. So I'll come up and I'll say, here, I've created a walk, or here's a structure for the song. Let's fill this out. And then there's times where I say to Mark, there's one particular song, Long Way Home, or what do we call that one?
Never
goes away.
Never goes the way you want. It wasn't even close.
Right. Yeah, no, not even close. Damn it! And I wrote that song too.
We just rehearsed it.
We just rehearsed it. That's right. Yeah. See. Yeah. Anyways, so I basically wrote that around an experience that happened to me. I was out with a friend. There was some sort of romantic tension between us, and we ended up back at her apartment, and then it's way late at night. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you say oh now, but wait till you hear the end of the story. She's looks at me and is hey, by the way, it's 2:30 in the morning, you have to leave now. Great, no buses, I'm broke as shit, so I don't have any money for cab. So I'm walking home.
Treat a bass player.
yeah, exactly. So I'm walking home from West Broadway all the way over to East Elmwood. So so I basically said, Mark, here's the riff we're going to center everything around. It's in the key of G, and you have to write lyrics based on the fact that something bad has happened, and you have to walk home. And those are your restrictions. And it came up with that. But that's not the normal process. That's sort of the exception. Usually it's, hey, Mark, I've written this, or Mark comes, hey, I tried this. Let's try hang it out together.
Well, I've recently been playing around with I had a riff, and I thought, okay, I think we got a kind of a chorus here, and I just been sitting on it for months, and there was hey, Ryan, I'm stuck, help me out. So last week we were just helping me out.
And then all of a sudden it just
I just wanted to jump in before I forget. So I've got 3 Black Eyed SUZIE songs that I play on the show. The one that I play the most, I didn't realize this, but it's Clinging to the Moon. I love that tune. And I wanted to ask, do your songs, do they all tell a personal story, or some of them do, or is it just random?
There's a good mix. I mean, I would say a lot of them come from a definitely personal place. But sometimes I've heard a really compelling story about someone else's life, and I'll incorporate that into the song.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I have Back to You and For Persephone as well. Is there a story behind one of these? So sometimes the artist will send me a message, and I don't know if I got a message from you guys. Oh, what happened? Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on. It's just a picture. It'll come back.
Okay. That's distracting as hell.
There we go.
Oh, okay, there we are. Okay. So I forgot what I was saying, but
sorry. So what was that question again?
is there a story behind the song For Persephone?
Yes. you want to say something about it? Oh, I thought you.
I don't know the story, so
Thought
I
you.
can't.
Yeah.
So I'm also interested in what the story is. Phil.
Well, you got to do it. Bobby Susie wants to hear it too.
Bobby Susie Fraser wants to hear what the story is.
Okay, admittedly, that was a little bit of a mishmash. I don't know, my mind. I think my mind was a little bit all over the place that time. But I had been watching a documentary about D-Day, which really affected me deeply. So the song is really a love song between a soldier and his lover. That's sort of the backdrop of it, I guess. And he passes on, so like many soldiers, and is taken to Elysium. I was really into Greek mythology at the time, so Persephone is a Greek goddess, and she was like the queen of Elysium, where soldiers, like the war dead, went. She came to retrieve them and take them.
Cool. That is very cool.
That song actually is my favorite of the three that I was listening to. Was the one about Persephone. My personal favorite.
Yeah, a little bit of a diversion from those others. Like, I think I was writing a little bit more at the time in the vein of the Americana sort of style. But yeah, we love to do our sort of dark alternative rock stuff too. Yeah.
Okay. So, Phil,
Me,
you got some crazy stuff for us.
Load us up, Phil.
Well, before you do,
Well, I don't know.
but before you do, hang a second, wait up. Your theme, your titles.
Oopsies, I skipped ahead just a little bit there. Whee! No retakes, no redos.
Wow.
Phil, go crazy.
My sweater on. You got my Adidas sweater on there.
Are you not ready? Did we catch you?
Surprise?
We caught you out.
Was that a surprise to you, Phil? What just
What's
happened? I don't know. What just happened?
I'm not sure. I'll be quite honest.
He's seen it before.
So apparently there was a Santa brawl at a Russian mall. That sounds cool. I love saying that.
Santa brawl.
There's even video to that. That's not something I saw.
Did you say Santa brawl or Santa bra?
Brawl. Oh, a bra would be a little.
The bra would be good too. Santa bra.
Ooh, Santa has a bra? What?
Well, he's a jolly fellow, right? I mean, come on.
He is. Oh, yeah, that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I came across this story though. I thought maybe songwriters, lyricists would think it's cool because sometimes when I hear a song, for me, the whole trip on the song is hearing the lyrics and experiencing the story that it tells or whatever. But did you hear that this past week was released? They found Indonesian cave art. And it turns out it's the oldest human depiction of supernatural beings.
Okay.
Oh.
I can't say the word. I can't find it here. But they're half animal, half humanoid-looking paintings that they found. And apparently they dated them to 44,000 years ago. So stuff was weird a long time ago.
Wow.
No relation,
Kind
I
of
guess.
probably not a surprise. Don't you find humans kind of odd?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Just kinda. Nah.
Well, Phil, you do live in the United States. Come on, man.
My question is, as creators. Oh, can I ask questions?
You can, you certainly can. Yes, please do.
Am I-
We
If it's too hard, I'll pretend
we
I
were
can't
hoping
hear
someone
it.
was going to invite us onto their show to interview us.
Yeah, there you go. And then it'll never happen
Interview
again.
Yeah.
Take the heat off of us. As creators, have you guys felt like you like since you were young, did you feel that you fit into this world? Like it's like you relate to the thing and not really feeling like you belong here?
Almost certainly, yeah. I never felt I fitted in. Yes, it took me a long time, I think, to be comfortable with me. I think that was that was part of the issue. Having been a kid that went through school and was bullied, I spent a lot of time alone. And coming out of that too was I got a guitar that was sent to me on my sister's birthday for me. So they messed the dates. A year went by and I picked that. Then I decided I'm going to pick it up because I was going to impress a girl. And that's kind of when I really started to feel I'd kind of arrived. As I was learning it, realizing the songs I'd been making up on the way to school, I can write this stuff down. I have a way of capturing it now. Yeah, but it's a long road. Just kind of getting through all of that, and finally, I'm in probably one of the biggest musical cities in North America, and we've got a whole ton of friends that we're now hanging out with, thanks to this show, actually. And we have lots of projects coming our way. It's taken a while, but yeah, finally, I'm here. I arrived.
There's oftentimes I still don't feel like I fully fit, if I'm going to be completely honest, and that's finding Mark and some of my other bandmates that I've been in bandmates where we often just click, and you still kind of feel like outsiders and something that's different, but you also use that to your advantage to sort of look at things as a whole, right? And you look at say, oh well, I'm observing this. Everybody else is content to listen to pop music or I pick on pop music a lot, so because it's so easy. But it's we're gonna listen to what's super trendy, and I'm gonna listen to what I like because that represents me better, right? And that doesn't mean that I'm stuck on one particular genre of music or one particular type of movie or media. I can like whatever I like because I like it for my reasons. I don't have to do it because, I live in a suburb, so I should listen to this music, right? But then there's also times where I definitely feel like I still don't fit in. and maybe I feel like maybe I'll never fit in and I'll just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So
I'm going to jump in too because, man, you know how long I've been playing music, like other people's music, other people's art? Since I was like 4 years old. I mean, check it out. This to me was my first song list.
That squiggly one. I know that song. I like that song. Yeah. The squiggly one.
That's my favorite still. I didn't know how to spell, but I knew my numbers. So I would make a song list and I grabbed my 45s and stacked them there and
Food's here.
start I didn't call it the Colorado Phil Show back then. I don't know what the hell I called it. But yeah, definitely. I never since a kid I never felt I fit in anywhere. And I gotta say until almost 3 years ago when I started doing the Colorado Phil Show.
That's actually quite funny.
Stuff happened, and the more I push, the closer I'm getting to finding sponsors and this and that. So,
it's just kind of funny that like people kind of get attracted in a friendship, platonic way. Was when I had invited Phil on the show February, I think it was. When we were prepping for the show, we were testing out the Google Meet. And it was supposed to be, yep, it's working, everything looks good. Hour and a half later, we're still talking. So it was like we hit it off immediately. And the same happened with Luce and a couple others. It's just, just saying I found my people. You know?
And I'm sporting the band shirt of my Denver, Colorado family. I actually had a visit from Ron, the bass player, this past week. And he drops by once in a while to make sure I'm okay.
Yeah, because we bass players are awesome like that.
That's fun.
You stirred up trouble, though, Ryan, one time. Remember?
Me? Never. I would never take a shot at like a topic that's been forbidden from this show ever.
It's in the rules, man.
Yeah.
I'm just pulling your leg.
Well, it's about
the last episode for the year. Like, are we done for the year?
I think so. Right?
Wow! You guys
maybe
are
the 28th.
Yes, that's cool.
Yeah, we might be able.
The year lasted another decade.
Last of the decade. If
Yeah.
we don't do one on the 28th, yeah.
No, the decade starts at the 21.
Oh, I
This
guess
is the this is the ninth. This is the ninth year of the decade.
okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
One more to go. Yeah. So, so you guys have a song for us. You're gonna perform live here on the show. Are you ready?
Yay.
Well, why don't we throw the card up there real quick while they get
Sure.
their instruments together. You can check out Black Eyed Suzie on Facebook at Black Eyed Suzie, no hyphen.
No hyphen. Definitely no hyphen.
Suzie on Facebook, on YouTube, Black Eyed Suzie 69 on YouTube, Instagram at Black_eyed Suzie, the blog www.black-eyedsuzie.com, living your best life, all hyphenated, and you can buy their album at black-eyedsuzie.bandcamp.com. Check them out.
Okay.
So I think we should be ready now.
Yep. So, look.
Hey,
So,
can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And hear him on the Colorado Phil show.
Yes.
there we go.
And hear them on the Colorado Field Show.
Okay. So the song you got for us today, I believe, is "Murder in Brazil."
It,
Okay.
it is. And it is based on a true story, actually, of a family that we knew post-World War II who moved to Brazil. And it's based on a photograph, actually. There's a family sitting together, and there's a woman on the edge, and there's a man's hand on her shoulder, and he's cut out of the picture. And the story goes that they found her buried under a pile of leaves, deceased. And so, yeah, we don't really know too terribly much about that story, but I wrote it in memory of this woman who did not have a voice.
thing she said. Yeah, the last thing she told me. The last thing she said. The words stuck in my head. Stuck in my head. Singing,
Ah, that was beautiful.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah, we were sat here transfixed. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But actually,
thank you.
well, thank you. The guys on the balcony, you didn't realize that we have a balcony here. The guys actually on the balcony have something to say.
That was great. Those guys make It's All in the Mind sound like they suck. But what am I saying? It's All in the Mind does suck.
I don't know why we invite those guys back every week.
I don't think we
know.
do. I think the balcony is just above the vortex. You can't see it in this picture here.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there.